You guys know that only 8% of the population utilizes chiropractic? Okay, it's a small number. And I always say, the good news about chiropractic, or I say the bad news about chiropractic is only 8% of the population utilizes chiropractic. That's bad news. And then I turn right around and I say, the good news about chiropractic is only 8% of the population utilizes chiropractic. Now, why would I say that? Well, I would say that if you understand how to get the 92%. If you don't know how to get the 92%, then it is really bad news. And that's what I know how to do. That's how I was able to open 77 offices in 20 states. I wasn't dependent on the 8% that was looking for a chiropractor. And you're going to learn how that works with personal injury. There's 3 types of marketing. There's publicity, there's advertising, and educational sales. We'll go into it in greater detail. But publicity and advertising does not work for the people who are not looking for a product or service. So when you do publicity and advertising, you're just fighting over the 8% with every other Tom, Dick, and Harry chiropractor out there. Those are some very low numbers. But when you know educational sales, there's tremendous opportunity, and this shows there's many reasons why. Here's why. Number 1, what's the second leading cause of going to a general practitioner? Low back pain. In other words, you think of where your office is, plot out all the general practitioners, you know, in a 2-mile, 3-mile radius. That's the second leading cause they're getting new patients every day. So guess what they're doing? They're driving right by your office every day. Back pain patients are driving right by your office to the GP every day. What's the second leading cause of going to the hospital? Emergency room. Low back pain. Low back pain, second leading cause. Out of that, studies have shown 99 out of 100 people that go to the emergency room for low back pain have mechanical low back pain. Now, you guys are chiropractors. You know what that means? You know what that's called? It's called opportunity. But guess what? They went to the emergency room. They didn't go to your office. See, there's a massive amount of business out there that have what you treat and what you're pretty good at. They're just not looking to buy you. That's a problem. And so that's why only educational sales attracts those people. So if you don't know educational sales, you never can attract the 92%. You're stuck. So what's the second leading workers' compensation injury? Low back pain. So you got low back pain, general practitioner, low back pain, emergency room, low back pain, workers' compensation. But chiropractors are complaining, and I'm only talking about low back pain. I'm not talking about any other condition. And then you have chiropractors complaining, I don't have enough new patients. No, there's way more new patients. You just don't know how to attract them. You don't know educational sales, and they're not looking for you. And there you are. You're stuck with your 8%. Now you're fighting over all the 2 or 3 or 4 other offices in your little community. That's why I told you I was in a bedroom community of population of 3,000 with 4 other chiropractors. We would see 350 patient visits a week, and I had 2 full-time associate doctors. That's why. If I was only dependent on the 8%, I wouldn't have any associate doctors, and I'd probably been seeing 80, 60 visits a week. But that wasn't the case. I knew educational sales, so I knew how to attract the 92% that were not seeking chiropractic care. Now, do all of those people have problems? No, 3 out of 4 of them do. 3 out of 4. But let me tell you, 75% of 92% is still a way bigger number than 8%. Here's what it is. 68% versus 8%. I know how to go to where there's 68% and pick them out like that. Only educational sales does that. That's called the S-curve of economics. I teach it. I'm the only chiropractor that teaches it. How do I know that? I taught it in 3 chiropractic colleges. I was the only one that taught it. Everybody else is teaching subluxations. That's not the S-curve of economics. That's not why people come into your office. Out of 77 offices in 20 states, how many patients have I had come into my office and said, I'd like to get my subluxations checked? 0. 0. But the chiropractors are telling you to promote it in your office the very next day. They're telling you to promote something nobody buys. And then they tell you to go ahead and do it the next day. That's the chiropractic profession. That's another reason it's stuck at 8%. anyway, the major concept that I wanted to deliver here was opportunity. So there's a lot of opportunity, but if you can't see it, you won't be able to get it. And if you do know the process to get it, there's a ton of business. How much business? I needed 2 associate doctors. I kept opening office after office after office after office. There's just a ton of opportunity. When you have the knowledge. When you don't have the knowledge, it's a very small. And that's why you don't see franchises in chiropractic. You can't franchise when there's 8% utilization. When only 8% of the population is using a product. If only 8% of the population was eating hamburgers, you think McDonald's would be able to open everywhere? No. No, there's not enough people buying the product. This was what I forgot that I was going to say. Chiropractic is not the leader of any category. Not any health category at all. Are you aware of that? After 120 years, they're not the leader of any health category, including treating low back pain, which is what they treat. And by the way, the statistics are 84% of the patients that come to chiropractors come to you for low back pain, neck pain, or headaches. 9% for neuromusculoskeletal extremities. 91% of all the patients come to chiropractors that are branded. I'm talking about branding, marketing, branding, okay? 91% of the 8% come to you for the category of neuromusculoskeletal, mainly spinal centric. And chiropractors do not even own that category. They don't own any category. They're not the leader in any category. And you're going to learn why.